bus. They had 20 kids when I got there. It was like 9, 10, 15, 20. They were sitting there when I left just after 10. They were still there because they were trying to catch a bus now. I don't understand it, but there were 4 buses behind their bus that were sitting there. I don't know if those were buses to communicate with kids or whatever. So I was like, now I get stuck. We had the ones that liked the time, starting time, and ones that not. I was amazed. I think I got 2 of each. The one lady didn't want you because her office, of course, she worked in that. So I think the other guy was the same.
Dinner time yet? You guys have been following me for a while, some of you. Hi there. We got some new ones who have joined us. So, all right. Thank you for joining us at Fern Creek. So it's been an exciting morning. Got to go to 3 of our new schools, which was just incredible, along with Schaffner and Fern Creek. But first of all, I just want to talk a little bit about our new schools. Walking into Hudson Middle School was just amazing. It was amazing, the staff at Hudson Middle School, what they've done to that building. It's a swing space, but just the energy and passion of that team at Hudson was just fantastic. And sat down, talked to a young man who said that last year he had to ride the bus all the way out to Trundle Elementary School, which was about a 30-minute bus ride, and now he got to walk 15 seconds. I don't know if it's that short, but that's what he said, 15 seconds from his house to the school. And so I think, that is the reason we are doing the changes in school choice, just so that we make sure families have options in our choice zone, which is primarily West Louisville. And for the first time ever, that young man's family has choice. So we were very proud to see that and all the excitement. Then we went over to the brand new Perry Elementary School. It was awesome to hear the kids talk about the facility and how incredible it was. So meeting the new students at Perry Elementary was just incredible. We were there before school started. But then finally we went to Echo Trail. Once again, just amazing things happening. And obviously the school is still under construction in 2 different wings, but where they're having school, and it's amazing out there. And then on top of that, seeing fantastic construction here at Fern Creek, and we got to start the day at Schaffner Elementary. So real exciting day as far as transportation. Yeah, we had some delays in the morning like we're always going to have. We always have delays on the first day. But, our schools are off and running and our kids are in schools. We're excited about that. We'll finish up the day here. As far as an hour later, I got to talk to our kids at Fern Creek. They seem to be very positive about getting that extra hour's sleep. So I think our teacher across the hall said he hadn't seen any yawns yet today, which was a really positive thing. And I think we will be very important for our adolescent students starting an hour later. So we've got about halfway through the day and still a lot of work to do. The really hard part is making sure every kid is on the right bus going home. We're focusing on our elementary school students. Obviously, those are the ones we focus on the most. So we get them home, make sure they're on the right buses. So far, it's been a great day. It's been great to be in 5 different schools. I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
You mentioned a little issues with some of the bus delays. What were some of the other issues you saw today?
I really haven't seen anything. I mean, the delays in buses mostly were caused by traffic. I mean, we had some significant traffic issues that we saw with delays. Other than that, I have not witnessed any other issues or heard of any other major issues other than some bus delays, primarily we think because of traffic. And so that may have impacted some of our high school routes, that second route of the day. But those things always happen, and there will be obviously cleaned up within the first week of school.
Dr. Pollio, there are certain buses at schools that are scheduled to arrive after the first bell. There are buses at certain schools that are scheduled to leave 30 minutes after school ends for a lot of younger kids. How do you speak to those parents? How do you comfort them or kind of give a solution, especially when this is the first time that the routes have been outsourced?
Well, first and foremost, after school, we had said that So a lot of our buses, 40 minutes was the window we gave alpha routes, and so that's just a part of what we have to do because we have 4 or 5 different time periods where they're being bused or being picked up on the bus. So 40 minutes is the limit in which we want it. We have some corrections to make on that. And then start times, you know, we will clean that up. They will all be there before the first bell. Those are just some of the things that have to be cleaned up as we go through.
What's your timeline for cleaning those things up?
Within the first 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks?
Yep.
So with Alpha Route, I thought it was interesting when I was trying to find more information about them, other districts that they worked in, that I wasn't able to find a launch. Is this a new software, I guess, that JCPS is kind of part of their first testing group, or were they able to provide you guys with other successful school districts that they've worked in?
They've worked with multiple school districts, multitude of school districts. I think it's on their website, but they're a consulting company that it's not necessarily software. It's a consulting company that has done this in several other districts. So they won our RFP when we put out a request for proposal, and obviously we make sure that they've had a history of being successful in other places as well.
Yeah, and then when you are looking at these schools, a lot of them, the 9:40 start times where you have that 40-minute window after, a lot of elementary kids are not getting home until 6:15 schedule. How do you give those kids time to be kids? I mean, when you have kids that are not getting home until 6:15, that doesn't really leave time for any after-school activities, and even sports, and even clubs. So when are those kids supposed to do those kinds of things?
Well, I'll say this first and foremost, that we need to talk to the 20,000 students who were missing school last year for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours to start the day. So yes, ideally we would have 2 start times. Ideally, we would get every kid home in 30 minutes and they would have that time. But unfortunately, with the resources that we have right now, and most districts have across this nation, we had to make some tough choices. One of those choices could have been we only provide transportation to students within or at their reside schools. That was one that many districts have said you only get transportation to your reside school. A second option is we only transport certain students to certain schools. We did not make that choice. And so yes, those that are taking the longest to get home are usually those that are magnet students that go through one of our compounds or our depots and have to switch buses because that's the family choice. And often that's what a family has to weigh, is if they choose to go to a school that's farther away from home, they may be taking longer to get home. Now, that's not every single student, but that is a vast majority of the students who have a longer ride are those parents making that choice.
And then what message would you give to parents who maybe waited at stops that never had a bus show up this morning?
Well, I'd say, once again, this happens every single school year. First and foremost, I would make sure that parents are, when they're on our bus finder, we're finding a lot of parents are not entering their address exactly as it is with a north or a west or an east or an apartment number, and they say there's no bus stop. But then obviously if they still continue to have problems, as to make sure, number one, they reach out to their school. Number two, they call 485-RIDE. I know there's a lot of calls right now, but that's going to lessen in the days to come, and we will have be able to address any issues like that. And somebody else.
Dr. Pollio, to go back to the traffic conversation, we know it's the first day there's going to be traffic jams with school drop-off. I know they're contracted through LMPD, but do you have any insight if there are issues with the shortage of crossing guards?
I know there are crossing guard shortages. This has been at least the past 4 or 5 years with a shortage of crossing guards. We cannot hire them. We are not allowed to hire crossing guards. It's considered against the AG has made, not this current AG, but several AGs have made rulings that you can't use school funds or district funds for crossing guards. So I know it's a major issue. It's caused some traffic problems. We'll work with the city to help as much as we can, but there's very little we can do about that.
Would you happen to know what time maybe the latest bus got a kid to school today?
I don't know that. They would have to find that out for you.
Now that Senate Bill 150 has been implemented, what are your thoughts on that and teachers having to adjust to this?
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure, it's not ideal that it was 2 days before school that it was passed, but we had been preparing guidelines based on the recommendations we were giving. And so we were ready to give guidelines to schools, which we did. We gave guidelines based upon the policy and the law. We gave that to them early yesterday morning or mid-morning, I think. But schools have had those, and we're getting those as quickly as we can. disseminating those to our teachers, specifically those that may deal with some of these subject areas, and so that schools can put in systems to match the policy.
If you were to give maybe an overall grade for today and how it's going, what would you say?
Well, I would say it's preliminary right now. I mean, so far I'm very pleased with what I've seen, but I would be hesitant to give a grade until we get the last kid home today. And I will say this, there's going to be delays this afternoon. There is no doubt about it. It is more challenging than we've ever been with the brand new transportation system, the amount of different times we have. You know, getting kids, you know, being in an elementary school where the first thing they have to do is tag kids to make sure that they have the right buses. And for the first time ever, we have different bus numbers in the afternoon for kids than we had in the morning. And so that's a challenge for the younger kids. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And so there's going to be delays. It's going to take some time. But what I can assure families of, that will continue to lessen and reduce as we go along in the next week to 2 weeks. And we will have it where it is, extremely efficient once we get moving in the next couple of weeks.
There was some confusion, with the buses this morning, parents calling their school and school not knowing how to advise them. Can you explain why that happened and what parents should do moving forward?
Yeah, so I mean, it's, and we have 155 schools, and so making sure that there's clarity and information that we give is important. So we may not have been as clear as we needed to be. And so, there's two different areas. There's certain information that schools can give and are able to provide help. Things like what is the correct number to call a compound, or let us help you walk through Bus Finder, or make sure that you are entering the information correctly with your address. So schools can help with that, what bus is supposed to go home, things like that. But then there's also some things that schools can't do, which are create a bus stop. So we've clarified with our schools that if they can't answer a question, who they refer them on to.
And can you speak to transportation to and from daycares, the before and after school care?
No, I have a whole list of daycares we transport to, an entire list of them that we transport to the after school. So I know we are doing that. I can't speak to any specific daycare, though. Yeah, I mean, we have vacancies. I'm not going to say, I think we're hopefully going to end up being less than last year. I think that's a real possibility. I don't want to say it's going to end up like that, because really schools are still hiring. Schools are still hiring. I was at the new teacher orientation last week, and the room was absolutely packed, and we had a lot of candidates or teachers who had come to us from other districts. So I think that's a real positive. But we're still going to have vacancies. Our goal right now is hopefully there'll be less than last year, significantly less, but we'll have to see once it all shakes out and we hire everybody what that exact number is.
Do you have a number for vacancies as of today?
I don't right now. I know, because the reason why is because I know there's being teachers who were hired yesterday who are being processed right now, so it's difficult for me to speak to that. I know last week it was the same. It was around the same number, or a little less than we ended last year, was 300 vacancies. So I'm hoping by the time we get that number cleaned up after the first week of school, it would be significantly lower than that.
What's top of your list now? First day of school done, looking forward to the end of the school year.
Well, first we need to get through the end of this first day of school and really get into the pattern of school, which it usually takes 3, 5, 7 days of school, to where everyone feels comfortable with their bus routes, their transportation, their classes in schools, all of those things. And then you really get into a rhythm of the school year. Once we do that, then we can really focus on the things that are going to impact student learning inside of the classroom, which will be implementation of our new curriculum. And so that's a little bit overshadowed by some of the other major changes we have. But I can't say enough about having one curriculum in literacy for the first time K through 8 in this district's history. Well, I should say since Kira in the early 90s. I can't say before that. But since site-based decision makings could select, we had in excess of 150 different curricula on reading throughout the district. Now we have one, and monitoring that and making sure it's implemented with fidelity. Those that are implementing math K through 8, the same thing. Yes, implementation of weapons detections is going to be a big thing for us as well, but without a doubt, improving student outcomes, using the levers that we're pulling right now on hopefully better attendance, adolescents being in school an hour later, having more start times, but the curriculum, student assignment where kids have school choice, but the curriculum is a huge thing, and making sure we are effectively implementing that curriculum.
I have one more. Can I get one more?
Go ahead, you can have one more.
Okay, cool, thanks. So when we are looking now at some of the things that we've discussed today, you said 2 weeks, hopefully to have solutions for most of this. What does this process look like on your all's end now? Yeah, I mean, is it mostly just kind of connecting loose strings that are kind of floating around out
Yeah.
there, or what?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, I've been in the command center, and what's been happening for the past 3 to 4 weeks is, well, I shouldn't say 3 to 4, since we opened up the bus Google Doc form that people could submit, is trying to clean those up with the manpower that we have. But once again, sometimes there is a bus stop there, and it's a matter of ensuring that the family is implementing it and typing it in correctly to the exact number that we have in our computer. And so, finishing up that, well, today is to make sure we get every kid on the right bus, get them home. Yeah, it's going to take a lot longer than it usually does, but doing that is paramount for us. And then as we move into tomorrow and the days coming, is to continue to add bus stops where we need to, clean up anything that we may be shortening routes, making sure they're getting there on time, all of those things to make sure that we get into that rhythm that I was speaking to. But it will mostly be cleaning up the loose ends over the next few days. Did you have a question?
Yes.
Go ahead. I do not. I'm not aware of that. But as of this time, there aren't. And I will say this, we get especially elementary school students in our community who go to a school, are dropped off at a school, and that may not necessarily be their school. So that's a common occurrence. That's happened for years in our community, and it's on us to make sure that we contact the family, we take care of the kid, and we get them to the right spot. So we do that every single year. But as of this time, I mean, the issues are very similar to any other year that we've had. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all being here today.
We got the student and the teacher.